It is my distinct honor to introduce Maria Rodriguez, a cornerstone of this community for the past 4 decades.
She introduced me like I was already gone. Not with anger, not with hesitation, but with a rehearsed smile. Standing under crystal chandeliers, holding a glass of champagne like a trophy, she glanced my way and laughed. "This is my ex," she said. "No degree, no ambition. But he's good with plants." The room responded exactly as she wanted. Soft laughter, polite amusement, approving nods from people who measure worth by resumes. I stood near the back, feeling something inside me settle instead of explode. Humiliation doesn't always arrive as pain. Sometimes it arrives as clarity. I didn't correct her. I didn't raise my voice. I raised my glass. "To new beginnings," I said, just loud enough for those nearby to hear. Then I turned and walked out. The band started playing again, covering the sound of my exit like nothing important had happened. For her, it was a joke, a harmless flex. For me, it was confirmation. I'd been planning my exit long before that night. Not because I expected cruelty, but because I had learned to prepare for disappointment. Years of being minimized teach you to pack quietly. I drove home alone. The house was silent, almost tender. I didn't rush. I took what mattered: clothes, documents, a few photos she'd never noticed. I left everything else. On the kitchen counter, I placed a single envelope. No accusations, no insults, just the truth she'd refused to see. Hours later, she stumbled in, still high on applause and alcohol. The house felt wrong to her, too empty, too still. She called my name, first casually, then with irritation. Then she saw the envelope. She read it twice before the meaning landed. I had removed myself from everything we shared. Accounts separated, assets divided, legal paperwork already filed. The house was now hers, fully and completely, along with every responsibility she'd never bothered to learn. Her first reaction wasn't fear, it was disbelief. She called me. Straight to voicemail. Again and again. Her messages swung from mockery to concern. "It was just a joke," she said in one. "You're being dramatic." By morning, the tone had changed. "Please call me." I didn't. 2 days later, she went to my workplace, only to discover I no longer worked there. I hadn't quit. I had sold my share, quietly, months earlier. She'd never asked questions because she'd never been interested. That's the thing about underestimating someone. You stop paying attention. Reality caught up fast. Bills arrived she didn't know how to interpret. Maintenance issues she'd dismissed for years suddenly surfaced. Then the video surfaced. Someone at the party had recorded her speech. The laugh, the punchline, the way I stood there, silent and invisible. Online, the reaction was not kind. People called it cruelty, arrogance. They asked how someone could humiliate their partner so casually. She tried to explain, to rewrite the moment, but explanations just sounded like excuses. She reached out through friends, family, contacts. Each attempt bounced back to her, heavier than before. Weeks later, she finally reached me through my attorney. I agreed to one conversation. We met in a neutral office, across a polished table. She looked smaller than I remembered, stripped of her performance. "I didn't think you'd actually leave," she said. "I didn't think you'd actually mean it," I replied. She cried, apologized, explained the pressure she was under. I listened. When she finished, I told her the truth. "You didn't lose me that night. You revealed you never saw me." Silence settled between us. She asked if there was any way to undo it. I told her no. Not because I hated her, but because something fundamental had shifted. Respect, once broken publicly, doesn't regrow quietly. I left that meeting feeling lighter than I had in years. I rebuilt my life slowly. New city, new work, new people who ask questions instead of assuming answers. Months later, I heard she'd moved out of the house. Downsized, started over. I wished her well, honestly. But from a distance, because some exits aren't dramatic, they're deliberate. And once you choose to walk away with dignity, you don't circle back for applause. She called me her ex before I was ready. I simply decided not to argue with her timing. And I never went back. Thank you for listening.